Hey guys, it's Magic the Gathering Matt, or Mr. MTG Matt. I am finally getting this video out to you. Sorry, it took a little bit longer to get a couple of lands in the mail that I was waiting for. Still a little bit sick, but I'm feeling a little bit better. And the pre-release is coming up here in a couple days, and I'm gonna hit you up with a video, kind of like a primer, for at least for my pre-release. And I'll probably put that out tomorrow. So look for that. But we've been going over the Devour for Power. I just unboxed that. If you haven't checked out the video before, I'll put that up in a little bubble here, and you can check that out. But I just wanted to go over the land real quick again that comes in the actual Devour for Power deck, and then today I'm gonna go over the different mana options that you can put in the deck to improve it. Because I'm going to be going through, if you haven't seen any of the other videos, I'm going through step by step a way to improve this for EDH. This is all for Commander. Just different ways with mana, with spells, with creatures, artifacts, all the good stuff. So this one's mana, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bunch of different options here. I have a stack up here of different mana options, and then in my next video, at the beginning of that video, I'm going to show you what my actual mana pool is then completed and finished. So that's how kind of the series of videos will go. The completed product will be at the beginning of the next video. But anyway, let's just flick over these cards real fast to see what you get in the deck again. So you've got Command Tower, which obviously you want. Rupture Spire, which is actually pretty good in Commander for mana fixing. Svagos, which is like a man land, it's good. You got the Karoo lands, or the bounce lands, whatever you call them, and then you've got these like a little bit slower duels. This is actually a really good one. Actually, it's a really good one. Terramorph Expanse, another Karoo. Cycling, I really like these ones. These are the ones where you cycle for only one mana of whatever kind it is. The reason I like these better than the other cyclers lands, which you'll see in a second, is because if you've got your hand right, and this is an island basically that comes into play tapped, or you can cycle it for one mana for tapping an island. So basically, if you don't need any islands, you can just cycle it, and it's really easy to do. But if you need an island, you'll obviously play it. So it's kind of I like being able to cycle for the same kind of mana that it produces, because it kind of, if you have a surplus already, it's like no big deal. Alright, more of the Karoo. Those were all cycling ones. And then these are all just the basic. And they obviously have a lot of basic lands. I'm not going to have nearly that much. And you will see very shortly. Alright, so here are just different options then that you can put in this deck. Now, I'm not necessarily going to put all these in. And I really haven't decided which ones I'm going to put in yet. But these are okay. Well, I just have the basics right there. Okay, and now these ones are all good. The Vivid Cycle, it's really, really nice for this. Yes, comes into play tapped, but remember in Commander it's a slightly slower format, so lands that come into play tapped aren't as big of a deal as long as you can make sure you hit the turns that you actually have the drops for. Like, let's say I have a 3, a 5, and a 6 drop or something in my hand. Okay. I can play these tapped lands, on the turns that don't matter, as long as I make sure I have a land that isn't tapped on my 3, or my 5, or my 6, or whatever. So, and these ones are awesome for early game. That's when you really need mana fixing anyway, because you have 2 charge counters and you can pretty much add whatever you want mana pool. Vivids are very good for EDH. These are the cycling lands that I was talking about. Polluted Mire. See, it's cycle for 2, which it is whatever, like any kind of mana, but at the same time, there's not going to be enough room for both of the cycling swamps and forest and islands, and I prefer the other ones for the reasons I mentioned before. But Jukabog is like really good for Commander. It enters the battlefield tapped, and if there's anybody that's doing any kind of graveyard shenanigans, which obviously if you're using the Devour Power you will be, but you can exile all the cards in their graveyard. This is like a card where you don't necessarily need it if you have nobody, if no one in your like group use this graveyard, but obviously it's really needed if someone does. And this is again one of those cycling ones. These Kamigawa lands are awesome for Commander because obviously you can only have one of them anyway, so the legendary doesn't affect you whatsoever. And they essentially are. This is an island that's better. It's like a better version of an island, so they're really good. This one obviously is fantastic. Untap target legendary permanent, because there's a bunch of legendary permanents in this. This one is awesome. This one has, like, most people look at this card and they go, oh, this sucks, but there's actually some really cool synergies with this card. One being that if you need like 2 blue and you only have 1, you could like tap it for blue and then pay like a swamp and bring it back to your hand and then play it again if you haven't played your land yet, and then tap it for blue again, and boom, you have 2 blues in your mana pool, which you didn't have before. The other thing is you can kind of do some things with like the Karoo lands and stuff where you're bouncing. I don't know. It's the main usage I think is for mana fixing early on. That's pretty nice. Also, it's good for landfall, I guess. I wasn't thinking about the bounce lands. I'm sorry. I was thinking of landfall. It's nice for that if you need like a land drop. Which there isn't any landfall in this deck, but I'm just saying that's a good thing for it. Halmar Depths is actually a pretty cool card. It's like a little kind of like a little, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards and put them back in anywhere. So it's like a little mini scry attached to an island. I don't know, I'm not sure if this is going to quite make the deck, but it is a cool little option that you can have. Okay, this card is awesome. Talaria West. It's, you know, it comes into play tapped and it's blue, so you're like, well, this sucks. But this transmutability is pretty awesome because you can pay that mana cost, and then for any mana cost 0, so basically any land you want, and you can pull it right out. So that's a pretty awesome card. It's definitely going to make my deck. Sheldock Isle is one of all these hideaway lands aren't that amazing, but this one's probably the best out of all of them in my opinion. I'm not sure if this is going to